I nominated Albie's Auto Sales for the Ian Spencer Excellence in Business Award because over the last few years I have been continually amazed and impressed by the reputation this business has. My friends, family, and coworkers have repeatedly told me of how much they trust this business, of its amazing customer service, of stories where Albie went above and beyond the call of duty. This seemed rare to me, but I later came to personally appreciate Albie and Bernie's honesty, knowledge, advice, and no-pressure atmosphere.
I guess I always had it in my mind that I wanted to do something on my own. And I've been in the car business now 37 years, so can't know where time went, just flew by. But anyway, when I worked for a dealership in Antigonish for 17 years, and I always had it in my mind that I'd like to do something on my own. So I decided I'd try to secure a line of credit, and I went to one of our local banks because the guy asked me to go there if I ever decided to do something. So took all the information and sent it away, and following week he called me and asked me to want to see me in his office. So I went in, and he was told by Halifax that if I was setting up on Main Street in Antigonish that they would be part of it. Because where I was setting up, they would not come to the table. So, disappointment, come home, and I thought they were seeing something that I wasn't seeing, and so I had nobody inside, including my wife. Caroline didn't think I should try to do it, and so I waited for about another 3 weeks after that, and then I went to our local credit union, where I dealt all my life, and I wasn't so brave this time. I didn't know if I could handle another rejection. But anyway, I went and I said, laid the cards down, and the same deal as I went to the bank with. And I knew the man in charge, and he said, "You're determined to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, I would really like to do it." He didn't tell me what they had to say. I was waiting to see what the outcome was going to be. He said, "We're going to take a chance on you." So there's where I get started. And first year, I went fishing with a guy. I'd get up at 3 in the morning and go fishing, come in, get in around 10 o'clock, go to Halifax, buy one car, bring it home, work in it until about 10 or 11 o'clock, and then do the same thing all over again the next day.
I've known Albie for a lot of years, and originally probably first met him through him dealing with Virgin Grand, and I was an employee there for so many years and knew him through that aspect. And then the last number of years that I worked at Virgin Grand, I was dealer finance coordinator for Virgin Grand, and he was one of the dealers that I dealt with a fair amount. I actually bought several cars from him myself, and that was a great experience because you can't get a better deal from anyone. It's kind of funny actually, because you can't get more away from the well-beaten path than Cape George from the town of Antigonish. It's quite a drive for a lot of people that don't live in that particular part of the county. But it doesn't seem to be a problem for Albie, because what people do is they'll call him and ask him what he has, and he'll tell them, or they'll just drive out and check what he has on his lot. For me, I just was driving by one day and I saw a vehicle I liked, stopped in, said, "Albie, I like the color of that van out there. Here's the keys, take it for a drive, see what you think." I took it as far as the Cape George Lighthouse driveway and drove back to his place of business, and the vehicle was sold.
Albie was one of the forming members. He was one of the people who had a very, very strong commitment to his community. He understood the issues that were facing it, and he, along with the rest of us, wanted to do something to address them. So we formed a group called the Antigonish North Shorter Development Association back in 1994. Albie was always the driving force behind us. He would look at the community. He would say, if only we had this, we could really do something with this community. And he would come up with the ideas, and we would work around them at our table and eventually find a way to get it done. Albie has been consistent with his dedication and his volunteerism on North Shore development. He has a real passion for his community. He is passionate about the lighthouse, spends many hours talking to people, explaining and educating them on the lighthouse, the fishing industry, the community. Albie always finds a way. That's one of the things that he is best noted for. He can make things happen. He does it in a very quiet, unassuming way, but we know that once he's on board with a project, that project is going to happen.
So he called me to come and look at the car, so I drove by. I came over and I looked at the car and I really loved it. And everything he has said about that car was perfectly true. It was a very nice car. It was very effective use of fuel, and he repaired it very well. And that's the first part of the story. What I found exceptionally a wonderful experience doing business with Albie's is the fact that when I first brought in the car for changing oil and doing basic maintenance, we started developing a relationship where he was interested in knowing about my background, where I came from, and I shared my stories about Sierra Leone. I'm originally from Sierra Leone, and I shared about my experiences of the war, that we went through 11-year war, and in the process we lost everything and we're starting life all over again. He became interested in that story. And the first surprise thing was, after repairing the car, I took my check and I wanted to pay him. And instead of paying him, he gave me money. He said, "Thomas, I sympathize with your story, and I recognize how wonderful and how great we are as Canadian, and how privileged we are. And you made me understand how others are not as privileged as we are. You take this money and send it home." I couldn't believe it, because for me, here is somebody who treats the customer from a very professional perspective. He's highly professional in his business, and yet he puts a human face on the business. He understands every individual customer, the context in which they are coming from. And so for him to mix that was really very unique, to empathize with the situation in which I was coming from, and giving out of his own profit to support a community he doesn't know.
When I saw the call for nominations for an award in Ian Spencer's name, I recalled my respect for Ian as a prof, but more so for all the great advice he once gave me. I felt I owed him one, and that he would approve of Albie's. Albie's was the worthy business because it appears to be a rare and very appreciated community treasure.
I buy all my vehicles from Albie.